For 2 decades, one voice defined Baltimore football, and now it's gone. Not because of scandal, not because of controversy, but because one of the most recognizable voices in the NFL is walking away, and his exit hits way deeper than people expected. Gerry Sandusky, the longtime radio voice of the Baltimore Ravens, is officially retiring. He spent 20 years calling games, becoming one of the most familiar sounds of the franchise's history. He started in 2006, he called a Super Bowl run in 2012, and his signature phrase, "the hay is in the barn," became part of Ravens culture. The organization has already confirmed he'll be honored in the Ravens Hall of Fame. Simple headline, a legendary broadcaster steps away. But the story behind it and what it means is much bigger. This isn't just about a guy leaving a booth. Gerry Sandusky wasn't a national personality chasing headlines. He was Baltimore. Born there, built there, covered the city since the late 80s. He didn't just call games. He translated them for fans. Think about the timing. He arrived in 2006, right when the Ravens were entering a new era. He was there for the Ray Lewis defensive dominance, Ed Reed changing games at safety, John Harbaugh's arrival, and the franchise's Super Bowl win in 2012. That means an entire generation of Ravens fans grew up hearing his voice during the biggest moments of their lives. And here's another layer, one people don't always talk about. Back in 2012, when the Penn State scandal exploded, Sandusky, completely unrelated, got caught in the crossfire because of his name. Social media turned ugly. Threats, confusion, misplaced anger. And yet, he stayed professional. He kept showing up. He kept doing his job. That resilience, that's part of why Baltimore respects him the way it does. So when he leaves, it's not just a retirement. It's the closing of a chapter tied to one of the most successful and emotional eras in franchise history. Let's break this down like it matters, because it does. Broadcasters are underrated assets in sports. They don't score touchdowns, they don't call plays, but they shape how fans experience the game. In Sandusky's style, it wasn't flashy, it wasn't forced, it was authentic. That's rare. In an era where broadcasting is becoming more personality-driven and sometimes overproduced, Sandusky represented something different: consistency and trust. When he spoke, Ravens fans believed what they were hearing. Now here's the strategic impact. Replacing a quarterback is hard. Replacing a head coach is harder. Replacing a voice tied to 20 years of memories, that's almost impossible. The Ravens now face a subtle but real challenge: maintaining emotional continuity with their fan base. Because the next voice, they're not just calling games, they're stepping into a role that carries championship memories, iconic defensive eras, and deeply personal fan connections. That's pressure, and there's risk here. If the replacement feels forced, if the tone shifts too dramatically, if the authenticity isn't there, fans will notice immediately. This is where organizations sometimes underestimate impact. You can rebuild rosters, you can redesign offenses, but you can't manufacture voice chemistry overnight. Best case scenario, the Ravens find someone who evolves the role without losing its soul. Worst case, fans feel disconnected from the broadcast experience for the first time in decades. And in today's media-heavy sports environment, that matters more than ever. You're going to see two very different reactions here. First, longtime Ravens fans. This is emotional. For them, this feels like losing part of the game day ritual. The same voice they heard during wins, losses, playoff runs, gone. Then there's the media perspective. Analysts will praise his professionalism, his longevity, and his consistency. But they'll also quietly ask, who's next? And can they live up to that standard? And don't be surprised if social media revisits his past challenges, especially how he handled the name confusion situation with class. That story still resonates, because in today's world, handling pressure off the field can define your legacy just as much as what you do on it. The Ravens nailed a replacement. They bring in someone who respects the past but adds a modern edge. The transition feels smooth. Fans embrace the new voice quicker than expected, and the franchise continues building its identity without missing a beat. The replacement struggles to connect. The tone feels off. Fans compare every call to Sandusky's era, and suddenly the broadcast becomes a point of criticism, not comfort. That kind of disconnect can linger longer than teams expect. So here's the real question. Can you ever truly replace a voice that defined an entire era of football? Or is this one of those moments where the past simply can't be replicated? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who should take over, and what should the Ravens look for next? And if you want more real breakdowns like this, not just headlines, but what they actually mean, hit subscribe and stay locked in.